Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries, let's roll the tape.
Welcome back to your Emotional Support Wrestling podcast with Madge and Emmy. I'm your host, Madge, and this is my co host, Emmy.
Hello.
Sometimes you need emotional support for your emotional support combat sport, and that's where we've got you covered. So, last week we kind of ran into a scheduling snafu, and we need to combine last week with this week. Shit happens. That's all I got for you. Shit does happen, and you don't have time to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So we have Dynamite from April 3rd. That begins with a fresh little Cope open. He cuts like the hypest promo that I've heard in like a while. And this was all brought on because some fuck ass little bitch who I actually don't know the name of, who I don't need the name of because you are a fuck ass little bitch. They once again brought Punk on a podcast, and he once again rehashed how sad he is and how Hangman talking to him in a promo was earth-shattering and the end of the world, and to Hangman it was Friday. And he just kept going on and on and on about, I didn't get my way, they did this to me, I didn't get any respect, blah 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 blah, boo fucking who. So they have the man himself, Big Cope, come out to start Dynamite and just spread some positivity about pro wrestling. Because there actually is a lot of positivity about pro wrestling. He actually says, there's a lot to love about pro wrestling right now. And you're so right, Mr. Cope. You're so right.
Yeah, and I think it can't be like we have to remember that not only did Punk go on a podcast on April Fool's Day, of course, because that's his day, and talk about how terrible AEW is, but the rest of the company, during their most important week of the entire sports entertainment calendar year, decided that instead of talking about how successful they are, decided to talk about how shitty AEW is, which obviously is a clear manipulation tactic. Like, it's your biggest week, all eyes are on you. So, what you're going to do now is you're going to remind the widest audience that you possibly can how bad your competitor is. And I say competitor, okay, because at this point, if you are wasting time, effort, money, and airwaves on the number two, then clearly they're a competitor to you. You see them as a threat. So, I mean, they just went back on every single thing they said for the past 5 years, talking about how, oh yeah, the developmental and all of this fucking bullshit that these people have spouted for like the past 5 years about how AEW is nothing, they're worthless, they're not competition, they'll never be able to fill our shoes, shit like that. And they just went completely backwards with it. And it's like, no, actually, you do think they're a threat because you wouldn't be shit talking them as much as you are on the most important week of wrestling for you guys, for y'all. You wouldn't, but you are. So clearly, you're trying to manipulate everybody's perspective of them. And it seems to be working because all the fucking bots on Twitter it's exactly what they're doing is they're engaging with all this shit talking about AEW when WWE stuff doesn't even touch like that scope of engagement the way that this other stuff does for some reason. For some reason, I don't get it. Um and not only that, but there was one more thing I wanted to say and I can't remember what it was. I had a reason. I was on a roll. Okay. Uh it's just it's just stupid. It's stupid and annoying. Just enjoy your own wrestling. Enjoy the wrestling that you like. Why did you have to why did I remember why. So all of this is happening at the same time that they still have a civil lawsuit on their hands, okay? And they're just trying to like push everybody to stop talking about it. And we're not going to stop talking about it, okay? We're going to keep talking about it. They they did not give the two guys who have been like really following the whole Janelle Grant lawsuit. They haven't been given they weren't given credentials for the WWE press scrum, which it makes sense why WWE wouldn't give it to them, but at the same time, you see what's going on here. They're trying to shut people out. They're trying to shut out all of that talk. They don't want to be questioned about it. They don't want anybody to talk about Janelle Grant, and I think it's important because of that we keep prodding and poking and reminding them that we aren't going to forget. We're not going to forget. They brought Stephanie back. Stephanie, who we forgot to say in the past 2 episodes, Stephanie was named as one of the 3 unnamed officials in the lawsuit, and now she's back. So she knew about all of these things that were happening, and now she's back in the company. And people are just gonna pretend like, oh, well, her father is the one dealing with all this stuff. It's her father the one that did all of these bad things. The lawsuit is against WWE as a corporation and Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. But it counts WWE as a whole first. It's still against this company, which means this company as a whole, okay, is under scrutiny, and it should be under scrutiny. But yeah, I think it's crazy how they just that's what they decided to do with their most important week of wrestling is talk shit about AEW so that people would stop talking about other stuff.
That's what they've been doing the entire time. They've been
I know.
constantly
Oh, I
going
know.
back on their own word about how they say how they feel about AEW, and then they do something entirely different. And they've been doing that the entire
Huh?
time. So I'm not surprised, and I don't really care to hear what they have to say because really it's smoke blown out of an old disgusting ass. So who cares?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I haven't cared about what WWE had to say about anything in a long time.
Oh yeah, I know. I just think it's very funny.
Curious even.
They think that they think that people haven't caught on to them, but we understand. We know what they're doing. We're not stupid.
It's clear. So to say all that, fuck CM Punk. Fuck CM Punk. Hey, fuck CM Punk. Do y'all know that song where it's just like, fuck Donald Trump? Hey, fuck Donald Trump. Because that's what I hear in my
I
head.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I hear in my head when I say fuck CM Punk. It's that little song of which the other lyrics I know nothing of. It's just the song.
I remember I remember hearing that song somewhere when I was like younger, like maybe in high school. But I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but it sounds so familiar to me. Just so we don't have a lot of dead air, in the recording. I'm gonna stop
I
it.
think I'm back.
Okay. Oh, here you are.
Okay. Oh, shit. Okay.
Okay, I don't know what happened.
Am I good?
You're fine. I can hear you now.
Okay. What was the last part you heard?
Um, Foxy and Puck.
Okay.
And
All right then.
then it looked like you were about to start talking about the next thing, but
Yeah. So for our Hangman watch, we had a shout out to an anxious millennial without their cowboy sign in the crowd. Loved that.
yeah, during the Osprey match. Woo!
We love to see it because, well, I'm not, but Emmy is an anxious millennial without their cowboy.
I am. I truly am.
It be like that sometimes. People don't think it be like it is,
Mm.
but it do.
It do be.
It do be like it is. So next up, the Bucks are here. It is fucked fuckers imminent. And then I specifically said, Matthew, how dare you decide to wear a shirt? Like,
I've noticed that's like the common theme right now with the Matthew Jackson girlies. Is everyone is really upset that they can't see his chest,
why wouldn't
his
I be?
cleavage.
Why wouldn't I be? Show them to me. You did it before.
I'm. It's so funny. I'm sorry. It's just a constant running theme. It's very funny.
We get
Like
really,
I get it. I get it.
we get upset when we can't see his chest. And he knows that. He knows that. So it's like, why are you
He
doing
does.
this? How could you?
Yeah. Yeah. He knows.
Yeah. So after the Bucks are shown exiting their big giant Escalade into the building, up next we see Sue and them. We see best friends and Sue. Specifically, no wait, I think it was all of them, right? Chuck was there too?
Yeah, all of them were there because the next thing was Willow, and Chris Statlander was with her. So it was like Chris had just shown up, so that was Willow's backup. You know, so yeah, everybody was there.
The whole squad's here. The gang's all here. And then, so we're kind of skipping ahead because we need to condense 2 weeks into 2 hours. So we're just talking about the Bucks, and we're going to talk about Hangman, and we're going to talk about the main event scene, because those are like the key points here. So then we get the Bucks versus Best Friends match. We got all the pyro for the Bucks entrance. Literally all of it. It was like, I remember watching it. Matthew was like doing the gesture with his hand, like, come on, keep it going, keep it coming, let's more, 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 more. I'm just like, I hate them. They're the worst. They're so awful. So this match altogether was just a flat out banger, but I think we all expected that one.
Hmm. Also, important thing to note is that uh, I believe this is where Matt said, "Scapegoat, love what you're doing over there."
It
Like
absolutely
during the
is.
entrance, and then during the match, he says, "Cry me a river," right at some point to someone.
After, at the end of the match, he's going up to Sue, he's doing the crying motion with his hands, cry me a river. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. This all connects somehow. The cope thing also connects. Don't ask me how yet,
We
but
gonna
we'll
get
get
there.
there.
It's so, during the match, I hate them so much. Matthew just goes over to commentary and he's like, "My gosh, do I have to do everything around here?" And he announces picture in picture like a little bitch. And I love him. He's the bitchiest little thing I've ever seen in my life. I love him so much.
Yeah, for real. And honestly, can I just shout out myself for 1 second for defending Matt and Nick's honor during this
You
segment?
did.
Can I tell you why? So So on Twitter, um, someone had the audacity to say that the Bucks weren't a draw after the ratings came out for this Dynamite, like the next day. And I was dead tired already. Like it was the end of the night. It was Thursday night, and I saw this comment, and I looked up at that whole graph of the ratings that are. I think they're from WrestleNomics. Yeah, they're from WrestleNomics, and I was like, first off, they're in the worst quarters of the entire show. Like this is where people drop and get bored normally on the show. 6 and 7. So like right before 5, 6, and after 5, 6 and 7, and then 8-2 can sometimes either go up or go down, just depending on what's going on. But 6 and 7 are like notoriously like this is where people are like, okay, I'm tired. I'm gonna shut this shit off. They had the picture in picture, okay, which is what reminded me of this. Is Matt saying, do I have to do everything around here? Do picture in picture. So they had the picture in picture ad break, okay, which as Trish from Trish and Sarah Pod is always telling everybody, always count the ad breaks because the ad breaks are really important when it comes to like being able to gauge exactly how much they're maintaining when it comes to like the audience. Okay? And usually if there's an ad break or a picture in picture, you will lose your audience. Like that's something that is destined to happen when it comes to ad breaks because people they're like, okay, fuck this, they walk away. The Bucks maintained the audience as much as they could. Like there was a drop, but the drop wasn't that much. Okay, imagine somebody else that aren't the Bucks doing that. They can't. They can't do it. Okay? They put the Bucks in that position on purpose so that they could hold as much like audience attention as they could. And it worked. Because if you look at the demo rating, it goes back up to 0.25, just like the Daddy Ass promo, where everybody, or not the Daddy Ass promo, but the Daddy Ass segment with Jay White, which was fucking boring, by the way. But they were in the middle of the show. Quarters 4 and 5, which is where Daddy Ass and Jay White were, is the most protected part of the show. This is where people watch. People will watch the middle of the show. So it's like you maintain the same rating as the most protected part of the show. And you're telling me they're not a draw? And I basically explained all this in less than 140 characters to the guy who was like, Bucks aren't a draw. And he just said, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. You're right.
You sunned that man. You sunned that man. You got.
And it was so funny because the Discord was in a fucking uproar the next morning when they saw that he apologized to me. And the girls, Trish and Sarah, were like, we're so proud of you. I'm like, thank you. Look, man, don't talk shit about the Bucks, especially now that I learned how to read numbers. Don't talk shit.
I can read numbers better than you, pal. You don't want to do this.
Look, Trish and Sarah have armed me with so much knowledge, and I will be using it, okay?
You deserve it.
Yes. Anyway, we can continue now. I just wanted to pat myself on the back a little bit.
Yeah. Defend those babies' honors.
I will. I defended their honor. All the Buck stands should be happy about it.
They should. They should give you a statue.
Yeah, I should get a statue.
Give me statue.
Erected in my honor.
Please don't say that. I hate when everybody uses that word in a practical sense. Like, let's be so real for just a minute.
Let's be so real. Nobody uses it that way anymore.
But anyway, so back to the match at hand. There was a moment where Sue hit Matthew.
Yes.
And it's like perfect woman on woman crime.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
The best friends almost had it. They almost had it. but they lost. They lost to the Young Bucks. That's when that's when Matthew comes through and he's like, "Cry me a river to Sue," because he's being a little bitch. He's being a bitchy little bitch.
Being a bitch. He's being the
So
pettiest
awful.
bitch.
So at the end of the match, Trent and Orange are still in the ring, and they go to do they get Chuck in the ring, and then they go to do they got to get the people what they want hug. And once they do, Trent like just breaks into a dead sprint, and he just knees Orange
It
directly
was
in the face.
so beautiful.
What a turn.
I have never seen a more beautiful, like, diving foot stomp in my
It was
life.
damn good.
Like, like a running foot stomp. Like, it was so beautiful. And I knew, somebody had said on the timeline that, like, heard rumors. They were like, something's going to happen with there's going to be a surprise tonight. And when I saw that the Bucks versus Best Friends was happening tonight, I was like, oh shit, is this gonna happen? Are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do what they've been teasing us for like 2 years about when it comes to Trent? Like, is he finally gonna like go ape shit on Orange? And I was just waiting on it. And I kept telling my brother, I was like, hold on a minute, hold on a minute. Eric, pay attention. Eric, pay attention. And then it happened. Poor Orange.
Poor boy.
My heart broke. And then Chuck's face. Chuck's face. He was the most pathetic looking little boy that I've ever
He was
seen.
so broken down and upset about it, and he just didn't know what to do.
He didn't. He didn't, and they cut away before he had a chance to choose, and then he chose Sue. He chose Sue. Instead of walking to Chuck or walking to Trent, he chose
That's
Sue.
cute. That's sweet.
What a moment. What a moment. It was insane. I gasped. Absolutely gasped.
Yeah. That shit went crazy. Yeah. So the next segment we're going to cover after that is the Swerve Joe contract signing main event. Now this shit was
Mm-hmm.
gas. This was cool as hell. We had a
Oh
Joe
yeah.
promos. We had a Joe
Mm-hmm.
promo starting us off. He was giving Swerve like advice before signing the contract. Like I can't remember what he was exactly talking about. I remember it being very, very condescending, of course, because it's Joe we're talking about.
Oh, he was talking mad crazy.
He was so mean. It was great.
Yeah, he said something like it seems that you've come into this a certain way, and I just want you to have all of the right information before we continue on with this moment.
Right.
just the just the most patronizing bullshit you could ever hear from a man.
He's so
And it's just like
he's
you see Swerve in his purple eyeshadow.
Swerve in his purple smoky eye. It was more like really just taking a brush and saying fuck my shit up. But it was purple on dark skin, so it looked great, of course.
He looks so baby girl.
Pretty.
And he's got this man talking shit. He got this man talking shit at him.
Talking out of his neck.
Yeah. Oh.
So Swerve says, "Before I signed this contract, just know I wanted this moment all my life. I dreamt of it, 'cause I didn't believe it was actually possible." Swerve, oh my fucking god. I'm asking you to stop making me feel things, 'cause I don't like to feel.
He was so vulnerable in that moment when he said that. It's why it's the only thing that I wrote down because I don't remember anything else he said. But that was it hurt my soul a little
Because
bit.
it's like you can imagine like baby Swerve, like just thinking, just wanting to become a professional wrestler so bad and wishing for it so hard as a child.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of
Yeah.
saw just like this like little bit of like, huh, this is really coming true right now in Swerve's eyes when he was like when he was saying that, because like he was like looking at the pen and looking at the contract when he said that, not really so much as Joe. He was just kind of like he was reminiscing on childhood in that moment. And then he signs the contract. Well, no, he doesn't sign it yet. But when he does, it's just kind of like this, like, that was just the most euphoric feeling for him. And after he says
Yeah.
that, he says he wants to build a dynasty and some MJF chants break out. I miss that funky little short king. That's all I have to say.
I was pretty surprised at the MJF chance, actually. I didn't realize how many people knew about him and his Dynasty faction from his indie days. So, like, see. Well, I guess, were they near New York at this point? It was Worcester. It was Worcester. Worcester. I don't know how to say it. I don't know about how to say it. Bostonians, people from Massachusetts, people from New York, don't get mad at me, okay? I don't know how to say this word. But they were in a place, up there, up north, where the Yanks live. And so I want to say that's why they knew, because it's such like a prevalent like indie
Hmm.
scene. And maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they knew. I didn't know. I mean, I found out a while ago, but it was very odd. Like it was a shock for me to realize how much of the crowd actually does know this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm just now, probably after like 3 or 4 years, remembering that that faction existed. Because like because I do remember that um that was in MLW, right? The Dynasty faction. Because I definitely
Not a clue.
I think it was with Alex Hammerstone and that one other guy, and MJF. Because I do remember seeing that a while back. But yeah, I didn't make that connection whatsoever. That is cool. The crowd has one up on me. Yeah. Then it starts to kick up and it gets fucking crazy for just a it starts going a little crazy and then it just ramps up to 11 for the rest of the fucking segment. And it's like Swerve, I believe, goes, "You are the definition of a killer, but so am I. I show you I am every bit of that man." And he goes, he takes his chain and he tries to hang Joe, and Joe just decides not to let that happen. And he takes the chain back. He takes the chain.
Yo, this shit was
He just
crazy.
said, Nah." He just, "Nah,
Yeah.
not gonna happen, I don't think."
No. Uh-uh.
So then Joe takes the chain and he starts beating Swerve down. And he just like he beats him like for a while. And like Swerve's bleeding. And he beat
He's gushing
so
blood.
much blood. It's all over him. And like Joe eventually like backs off and he like walks out of the ring. And then Swerve takes the microphone back and he's got his
Mm-hmm.
Vincent Price laugh going. And he just goes, I don't remember what he says, but I vividly remember him taking blood off his forehead, slapping it down on the paper, dipping the pen in the blood and signing the contract.
So, so 7 hours before
Oh
before
my
this
god.
happened, I was talking to the group chat about how I needed I needed Swerve to sign that contract in his blood. So this entire segment, I was absolutely vibrating in my seat, waiting for him to do it. And when he started bleeding out on the mat after Joe like beat him down, I was like, oh my god, sign the contract, sign the contract. I had a friend of mine go, calm down. He just started bleeding. He needs
He
a
needs a
minute.
minute.
He needs a minute. Just give him a sec. And I was like, sign it! Sign it now!
Get that fucking pen out and sign it.
And then he's, oh my god, that moment of him grabbing the pen and just dragging it down his forehead, down to his nose. And then he tries to sign with the pen and it barely works. So he just like lays a hand across his forehead, brings up all the blood from it and just finger paints that shit onto the contract.
I think,
Just smears it all
well,
over.
I mean, that's
I
exactly
went
because
insane.
we all know why you said he needs to sign the contract in blood. We all know why. That's exactly the way that Kenny did it. It just take the blood on the finger, swipe it across the paper, call it good. And it works. It works.
Yep.
I don't know why I understand the trying to be
Mm-hmm.
creative. It would have been sweet if that pen picked up blood and actually wrote with it, but it's a fine-tipped pen. That's not going to happen. You're not working with a quill here. Like
Yeah. I appreciate the cinema
this,
of it though.
yes.
Because I made gifs of that. I appreciated it very much. It looked
Yes.
so good. Because the camera was actually in focus on his face and you could actually catch how crisp and clear it was, him just dragging it down his face. It was awesome. It was so good. I was so happy. I made the parallel gift set immediately.
You know, a Leo DiCaprio meme, like just pointing at the screen, like, hey, hey, I recognize that.
Yes, that was me. Oh, Swerve. Oh, Swerve. You're so in love with him, man. You love him
Hey
so
boy.
much. And you know what? If this does fit in with my blood lore theory, with the blood magic, that man is winning a dynasty.
Yeah, I think they're all but telling you outright he's going to win at Dynasty. I think personally the win would be cooler. Yeah,
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. You know who also has Swerve's blood in him?
who could that be?
Do you know?
Do I know? Do I know of a
Do you
certain
know?
blonde who might have ingested a little bit of blood? Do I
Do
know of
you
a
know?
certain cowboy who might have spit something out of his mouth like Triple H? Maybe. It's Hangman.
Maybe so. It's Hangman. It's Hangman. It's Hangman.
It Hangy.
It's Hangman. So, so I don't know how these transitive properties work when it comes to blood and magic, but perhaps the only way that Swarp can lose is if somebody decides to show up. Look, I'm still of the belief that in my head the best booked way to do this is for Swerve to lose at Dynasty by Hangman's hand. And then Hangman wins at Double or Nothing because
We're gonna be there.
we get our
Get
fucking
our
licks
licks
back,
back.
baby. We're gonna be there, baby.
I would love that.
This is full on retribution.
I needed some of that. I need some of that.
Yeah, yeah. But chances are Swerve's winning a dynasty, and that's fine. But I would just really like to be able to say that we saw Hangman win the title.
My man, I would kill for that.
And it would be great because guess who is the last person that CM Punk beat at in his last AEW match?
It was Joe, right? Okay, I
Samoa
didn't
and
actually
Joseph.
remember. I completely didn't remember. It took me a little while.
It was Samoa and
Samosif
Joseph.
Joseph?
Samoa Joseph, and if Hangman beats him, well, I just say that he's better than that other
But we
guy.
knew that.
Anyway,
He's the one
we've
who
been
doesn't
new. It's
botch
fine.
his buckshot lariats.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, that's the most embarrassing thing I've ever experienced in my life.
You saw that live.
Legit, that was
I keep
full
forgetting.
body cringe. I looked away. I looked down, I looked to the left, I full body cringed.
Embarrassing.
Horrifically embarrassing.
But blood lore. We love blood lore around this house, and there'll be
It's
more
all
to
about the
come.
blood, baby.
All about the blood, baby.
All right, next up we got what happened on Collision, Emmy's version, which is what's just in the notes here. I love the way people do that. People put such and such's version on everything all over the internet. It's so funny. Anyway.
It's Taylor Swift's fault.
Oh, I know. I know.
It's so funny. I like it. I think it's hilarious. So I'm just gonna do it for everything until the joke gets old.
And it probably won't, because what? She's releasing a bunch of new Taylor's version stuff?
Honestly, I don't know.
I don't either. I can ask my coworker, but I don't care that much.
Me either.
Yeah. So, Collision. So, all you need to know about Collision, the Bucks were on there to beat up the winners of the right side of the bracket, which was, unfortunately for everybody involved, FTR. And then they announced the fated release of the Wembley Stadium footage backstage. They didn't specify what footage, they just said the footage. But we all know what the
Yeah.
footage is.
Which yeah, we all went insane at like 1 o'clock in the morning when that happened. It was
Oh
crazy.
yeah, Collision was on super fucking late, right?
Yeah, this was sicko hours collision, dude. This was sicko hours collision. It was after
Sicko
WrestleMania
hours.
night 1. Okay?
Oh, they did it after Mania. Okay. I was
They- okay, so listen. So there was basketball on. There was basketball on TBS. TNT? TNT. TBS?
probably TNT.
TNT.
Yeah.
So, yes. There was basketball on during WrestleMania. But then once WrestleMania was over, it was like maybe like a 20-30 minute gap where the basketball was still on, and then it all depended on what broadcast you were watching from, because maybe you're from a different country, so like they pull up the broadcast faster, or you're on Fight, or you're straight up watching TNT or whatever. So everything like starts at a weird time. So everybody was completely off sync. Like nobody was watching this all at the same time. I didn't realize that my broadcast was on because I forgot that I'm watching on Fight now, and Fight just airs it immediately. Okay? So this shit, when it happened, I was going absolutely bonkers. And then everybody that finally caught up, like everybody started catching up to it, or there were some that did have it on at the same time, and we were all just like, what the fuck do you mean you're releasing the Wembley footage?
You sent that to me and I was like,
Matthew,
"Oh my god, I hope they fucking do it."
I was like, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, be so for real right now. Do not say this unless you mean it. And then somebody in the group chat was like, guys, calm down. Remember that they feuded with FTR going into Wembley, and they had a match with FTR. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna calm down. And then literally like 15 minutes later, the dirt sheets were like, "No, this is for real. This is a shoot. They're being so for real."
Well, they're being for real.
And I was like, "What?" I didn't sleep. I did not sleep for 5 hours thinking about this fucking Wembley footage and how they were going to pull it off. I did not sleep.
Yeah, I kind of
Like I
figured
was going insane.
they were just gonna let it rip and say, "Here, have this," because they're kind of like that. They would do that. But I was,
Oh, there were people like they were hypothesizing that if they don't actually release the footage on Dynamite, that somebody would just leak it to TMZ. Like here, have at it.
I mean, I guess, but it was nearly a year ago, so TMZ very much so could have already had it.
Maybe. Who knows? It was just crazy. It was pandemonium. It was pandemonium.
Yeah. I no longer have my Twitter. I rarely use Tumblr. I kinda use TikTok, I suppose. So yeah, I'm just kind of a little disconnected from everybody's reactions to things, and I really only have ours. And that's kind of the way I like it, because the rest of you don't particularly matter to me.
One thing I forgot to write in the notes is that so they came to beat up FTR, but when they came to beat up FTR, it wasn't immediately after the FTR match. This was later on in the show, when Adam Copeland, I can't remember what he was doing. I don't know exactly what was going on. I think he had a match, and then uh, Malachi Black came out, and House of Black started beating down on Adam Copeland. So FTR were the ones, of course, who came to run out and help him. And then that's obviously when the Bucks came out. So the reason that I said it was a good idea to keep, to talk about the Cope promo is because if you keep in mind that Collision and Dynamite were taped the same night, then you'll realize that the kayfabe understanding of what's going on does have to do with Bucks, FTR, and also Adam Copeland. Because if you remember, um, Eddie Kingston and Adam Copeland were the two people who condemned the Bucks' actions after what they did to Sting and his family. So you have uh, Copeland coming out here and saying how this is the best place, this is where the best wrestle, da 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 da. And he has not shown them specifically an ounce of respect since he's been here, since they turned heel, really. And he is also very old.
Ooh.
He is what the Bucks would consider a veteran of the industry.
My
And
sisters.
they already dealt with Eddie Kingston, who talked shit about them after what they did to Sting. And what's left? I ask. Big Cope.
Big Cope.
Big Cope was Big Cope was disrespectful, and then he has the audacity to come out here acting like he's the one, like he's a big part of this locker room, and he's the locker room leader. You know, so I can understand maybe if the Bucks have a problem with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, that was the kayfabe way of thinking about it, anyway.
I like that though. There's like a whole ecosystem going on in Collision that I just don't know about because I'm stubborn.
Fair enough, buddy. That's why I'm here.
Daps you up through the camera. What was that?
That was me trying to dap.
Oh, okay.
Look, man, I'm old. I'm 28. I don't know what dapping is exactly. I have an idea,
I have an idea. All right, I'll show you.
but I don't actually know.
Has no one ever tried to? Well, no one really. That's really a guy thing usually.
Oh, wait a minute. Is it the man hug where it's like they pat you on the back as they hug you? Is that what a dap is?
So it's the you do this, you pull each other in, and
You,
then you do a hug. Sometimes you can do the pat on the back. You usually don't. Sometimes if it's like a quick greeting, it's just and then you're good. But if it's like you haven't seen each other in a
okay.
while, you're like you like snatch the fuck out of their hand, you drag them in, pat them on the back. You're like standing there talking like this for no reason.
Yeah. Gayest thing ever, but they'll do it.
Let's do it. Like I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why are you as a man? Why are you
Look, boys.
as a
Look,
man?
boys. I know we're look, we're making fun of it, okay? But honestly, good for y'all.
Good for y'all. Keep doing it.
Good for you. If this is the way that you show your intimacy, go ahead. I'm so proud
If
of
these
you.
are the intricate rituals you've
It's just
constructed,
funny. Yes. Go ahead. Enjoy your intricate rituals.
don't let me stop you. All right, so that co
So I've learned what
colors.
dapping is.
You have learned what dapping is. We have covered dapping.
Good. Okay. What's next?
So we wrapped up last week. So now we enter this week's Dynamite. April 10th. Yeah?
10th.
10th. April 10th. So,
I'd Mubarak to my to the Muslims out there. I was gonna say fellow Muslims, but I'm not Muslim, so
yeah, just Muslims then.
I'd Mubarak. I'd Mubarak to the Muslims out there. I hope you enjoyed your Ramadan.
Yeah. What Emmy said. I can't pronounce that.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah. So Dynamite begins. We start with the Joe versus Dustin Open. Joe starts to come out, starts to make his entrance, and then in comes Swerve just fucking barreling out. He beats that man's ass. Just walking down the ramp, just beats the shit out of him. And then he's like spears him
Mm-hmm.
through a table at one point, and then they fall through a bunch of tables. And it's like it's like a Fast and Furious start to the show. It was very cool. I enjoyed it. But that meant no match for that moment.
Yeah.
So like they just like cut away from all that because it's like in kayfabe, it's like, all right, well, our champion just got beat the shit out of, so we gotta pivot real quick because we don't have a show going on anymore right now. We need to get back on the show.
The first couple segments went by so fast because it's like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah,
It felt like the Bucks were truly backstage in the production area. Like, all right, let's get this shit rolling.
yeah,
We got to get to our shit.
yeah. Like, all right, let's go. Let's move it. Come on. So they had the Best Friends Implosion video package that played, and then we had Renee outside of Orange's room, his locker room, not outside of his locker.
Yes.
And she says that he'll address the heartless act of Trent Beretta, but on Rampage he has a match. Can't remember if they announced
Okay.
who was in the match or not. I was still kind of reeling from what had just happened like seconds earlier. But yeah. So then we go into our actual first match of the night with Penta versus Big Cope. We got the electric blue gear on Penta, which was so sexy, so fine, so pretty.
So, so good. And mind you, it was not the exact same gear that he was wearing on Collision, which was also electric blue gear, but it was a different shade. It was a darker shade. This one was a brighter shade, but they were both like headache inducing, like eye popping blue, which is my favorite kind of blue. That's my favorite kind of blue. We all know this.
I mean, lore.
Um, it was just awesome. Yeah, Emmy lore. This is Emmy lore. Um, the real ones on Tumblr will know. Uh, anyway, uh, yeah, and not only was he wearing this very bright blue, but Big Cope was wearing this really bright red. So it was like a really nice, like, opposing force kind of thing, like kind of Power Ranger-y too. It was nice. I liked it a lot.
Mhm.
They did really good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
it was a sick ass match. There was at the one point this
Mm-hmm.
like Cope managed to hit a power slam on Penta on the ring apron. That shit was gas. That shit was insane. I
It was
remember seeing it. I'm
amazing.
like, holy fuck.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers.
Shit was insane. When they hit the 20-minute mark,
Shout out to those old
shout out
men.
to them old men. I think Cope was the only one who was old though. I think Penta might only be like 30 something.
Bro, I think he's 39, dog.
Oh, creeping up on him then.
Yeah, I think he's the same age as Matthew.
Yeah, old. So at the 20-minute mark,
It's gonna take a
Cope
minute to
wins
Google.
the match. He gets a spear in on Penta and he gets the 1, 2, 3. And then the lights go out. And then Cope turns around. Oh, yeah, yeah, Penta's 39. That's crazy. Where does time go?
Yeah, I don't know.
Insane. So then lights go out. We get Miss Julia Hart to appear. And then Brody King comes through and ambushes Big Cope. And then Willow comes out and she starts beating up Julia. And then Brody gets in the way. And then Cope comes through and saves Willow. And then they both drive out Julia and Brody. And then it's just the two of them in the ring. And it's just Willow Cope connection. I'm about to explode.
I also want to point out that Penta says, fuck Big Coop because that man got out the ring so damn
He
fast.
was
He
gone.
was out of there.
Not to be seen. He said
That was so funny
he
to
said,
me.
let me get my dumb ass out of here.
Cero miedo, my ass.
That just means he has no fear of getting the fuck out of there.
Ooh, funny shit. Funny shit.
Funny shit. And then you made this note because I no longer have Twitter really. So Joe tweets out that Swerve must pay a blood price tonight. So the blood lore sickos are they're being fed today.
Me! I'm being fed. I'm sickos. I'm bloodlore sickos. Right here. Right here, baby.
So then we get
Ooh.
yeah, let's go. So we get Renee backstage. She's with Lionhook and Mr. Shibata. She asked about the six man. Um, she asked Hook about Shibata, but Jericho just starts talking, which I guess makes sense. It's like, yeah, I know this kid isn't actually going to say any words. Let me just go ahead and start speaking. But also, bitch, shut up. Like that was immediately what I thought of when he started talking was just bitch, shut up.
Yeah, he basically takes over the interview, even though Renee is clearly trying to get Hook to speak on this, because Hook is the one who actually called in Shibata to help the team.
Yeah. And Jericho was all fucking
But
patronizing
Jared,
about it.
yeah, yeah. He was like, yeah, Hook brought him in, but it was off of my advice and da 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 shit
Mhm.
like that. Like, because it's all thanks to me, really. know, which is very funny.
Like, bitch, shut up. I, oh my god.
No, but Madge, do you see the connection?
Yes, yes, of course I do.
Okay, just making sure.
I see the connection. I'm a little tired of who's playing the goddamn role.
I
I'm like, we
know,
couldn't have.
but it's
It
perfect
is
though.
perfect.
It's perfect though, because the other guy was just as tiring.
Yeah. Actually, I think I liked him more than I liked Jericho.
Shut up! No, you
Yeah, I
didn't.
did, actually. I did.
All right, I'm cutting this
Okay.
out.
What?
Okay, I'm cutting this out. You
You let
agreed.
me
You agreed
you
with
let
me.
me speak my truth. You let me say what I want to say.
Producer Emmy, when you go back through this, cut that shit.
Get that out of here. But yeah, I see what they're doing. It's like it's very clear the direction that they're going with this, and I'm like, cool.
Mhm.
Maybe this will be something good for Hook. Maybe. Because it's kind of
Were you watching this live?
yes.
Did you see the weird zoom ins to Jericho's face
Yes.
that later on happened also to other people in the show?
Yes. And I was kind of like, what? Why? And then I kind of remembered,
Who the fuck is doing
and then
this?
I just kind of remembered, oh yeah, they're doing that bit where the Bucks are the people who are in the truck. So they're just kind of like professionally acting like the Bucks, which is stupid. It's not stupid that they're acting that way. They are acting stupid.
Really funny.
Yeah. And then this was very funny. So Jericho just kind of walks away after the interview is over, but Hook and Shibata stay behind. And Shibata goes on his phone and he just types, "What's his deal?" And Hook is just like, "Trust me." Which like, okay, excellent choice of words actually. I love that. And then Shibata just goes, "I like your necklace."
Renee.
Yeah.
He's got Riz.
I don't think you want to do all that with John Moxley again, Shibata. I don't think you want to do all that. He probably does. But
Look, given how many times that people have yelled in Renee's face, Hangman,
he's allowed to.
uh, at the very least, like, handing her a rose like somebody else did the other week, or saying they like her necklace, that's good stuff. That's stuff that Mox would be like, all right, good. Treating my wife with the respect she deserves. Good.
Yeah.
You won't die today.
I won't kill you this time.
You live another day.
So then the next segment is another I'm starting to notice this and it's starting to piss me off. It was another video package, this time for the FTR Bucks history. And then they announced that the Bucks are up next in with never before seen footage. And I was just like, oh, I like sat up the way you do when you're playing video games and it's time to lock in. I was like, okay, finally, what I'm here for.
My blood pressure rose, and then they immediately cut to the ad. And obviously, I have fights, so I can't see any ads. So it's just the AEW Dynamite graphics and the music playing over and over again. So I learned to like block that out and just look at my phone while the ad is playing, quote unquote. But then at some point, the AEW Dynamite graphics and the music stopped. The screen went blank. And I immediately logged the fuck back in. My body got like stock straight, and I was like, okay, it's time. Except it was just like another minute and a half of ad break, but they just weren't playing the graphics or the music anymore. But I was just like, holy shit,
Time.
it's almost time. And then they come back and it's not them.
I know.
What?
I know. The next segment that actually came
That was me
on.
trying to segue.
Yeah, the next segment that actually came on was it
Yeah.
was Mark and Eddie backstage talking to Renee. Mark Briscoe was in a lot of pain. I don't know why. Was this a pre-recording?
No, it wasn't a pre-recording because based off of who shows back into the shot after.
Oh, you're right.
So I want to say that they had a match, and I just don't remember, like through my from my outline. Him and Eddie probably at some point, and so they got hurt, obviously. Um,
Oh, you know what I think it was?
so that's probably why he's in
I think
pain.
it was just them selling the Super Card of Honor um match. 'Cause like I don't think they had a
There
yeah,
you
I don't think
go.
they
That
had
makes
another
sense.
match after that. Um so I think it was just kind of just selling it. Okay, I talked myself into it. That makes sense. We're going with it. And then so Eddie was confused. He doesn't know what simultaneously means, which okay, poor sweetheart. Mark was just
Mark the redneck is out here using big words, and Eddie's like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
that is actually very funny.
Yeah, the hick knows bigger words than you, buddy. That's sad.
How are you gonna let Mark Briscoe of all people stunt on you with his big words?
I'm sorry, I'm in a giggly mood today, and that made me laugh. Peepers.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. Yeah. So Eddie got stunted on by not understanding what simultaneously means. And then Cope and Willow and Stoke show up. Big Stoke says, and you know what? I think I know what Willow wants. That's you put that TNT title on the line against Willow on Dynamite next week, or I think it was on Rampage. And then Willow was like, no, 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 that's not what I wanted. She's like desperately trying, like, please don't make me do that.
And
And then she just,
it was funny because you heard the crowd
yeah,
pop.
the crowd wanted it. I kind of wanted it. I was like, they don't have the balls.
I wanted it. I heard that shit. I heard that shit. Me and my brother we were like, yeah,
Bro, do
yes,
it.
what?
Like, they're obviously not going to do it, but it's like, it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah, can't have shit here.
Can't have shit in this house. Can't have shit in Detroit. Yeah, but they announced a mixed tag match instead, between Brody, King, and Julia versus Big Cope and Willow, which still hot, still like it. Hope they let them do tag team moves and make it an actual tag match, but we will see. Probably
Mm-hmm.
not, but we will see.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. And then we got Stoke. Like Eddie was there for all of this, Eddie and Mark. Eddie just like starts to walk away and Stoke calls after him and he's like, that time I said you smelled like Newports and Burger King, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. Are we cool? And Eddie's like brushing him off about it because it's like obviously not. I love Eddie.
I love that line. Burger King and Newports.
Because that is, I'm gonna be honest, smelling Burger King and having to smell Newports, that's not a good combo. He couldn't
Oh,
have even like swung like
that's why it was such an
Marlboros,
insult.
like a nice Marlboro Gold or something like that. He had to say Newports,
Marble Lights.
not even a nice menthol. How cruel. Of course he's not good with you, Stoke. You called him Newports. Then, after that, it was the moment. It was the time. It was time for the Young Bucks. So,
This was big no fear, one
no,
fear
one
for me.
fear. I was thinking, so I thought, so basically, when they're shown, they're like backstage. They're sitting next to like a TV in the back or whatever. And Nicholas is just like, well, let's get the people what they want to see. Roll the tape. And Matthew is like, no, 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 you gotta have context first. And from that moment on, I was like, okay, it might not actually be the footage if they're goofing around like this. But then, but then they go
But
into
then,
they go into this whole spiel. Like Nicholas says, like that moment after that moment in Wembley Stadium, there were some wounds there that would never heal. They in fact open up when it starts to talk about FTR and things like that. And they said there was one individual who tried to make the show all about himself, and that it was like whoever won their tag match would be the greatest tag team ever. But there was a little struggle that happened before that. And then they said there was this kid, this the kid who's a scapegoat in all this. Jack Perry, great to talk to you, great to see you. You know, it's adorable the way they talk about Jack Perry. I like it a lot. And then
yeah,
yeah,
they're cute.
and then they go to say this next individual who made the show all about himself. They were like, then actually, let's roll the footage. Actually, hold on, I forgot something. They said the famous little line that Jack Perry is the type of kid where if you have a problem with Jack Perry, you're probably the problem. And I'm like,
Nobody has a problem with Jack
yeah,
Perry.
exactly.
If you have a problem with Jack Perry, you're the
Exactly.
problem.
So real of them. Our esteemed EVPs.
Yeah. They knew exactly what line to
They
say.
always do.
They knew that everybody knew. They knew that everybody knew about that line because that video has been playing on Twitter nonstop on loop for the past 24 hours before this footage came
They're
up.
so good at this. I hate them.
Like, I literally retweeted it today before the show. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. They didn't. They never forget.
They don't forget shit.
They never forget a bitch ever.
Never forget a bitch. Then they said the individual who tried to make the show about himself happens to be friends with FTR, and maybe that was FTR's plan all along. And I'm just enraptured with what they're saying the more that they talk. And then they like Nicholas is like spewing all of this like they did this with this individual to distract us so that we would lose at Wembley. And then Matthew just goes, you don't know that for a fact. You can't just say that. You can't just spread rumors on the internet. Fucked fuckers. Fucked fuckers. Oh my god. I hate them. They're the worst. I love them to death.
I need you to understand that there is not one line of this promo that could have been cut out.
Yeah.
because every single line serves a purpose. Every exact thing that they said serves a purpose because it's a callback to something else or to the conspiracies that have been going on for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They are absolutely bananas, bonkers, insane. They never forget anything
They are
ever.
genuinely, what are they so good at this for? Like, what's the reason?
Like even Matthew going, you can't just say that.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You can't just say that. Like, hate him.
Like, like what do they call that when it's verbal? Verbal, it's defamation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's printed, it's libel, right? So yeah, so he was like, he in his head, he's probably thinking, we can't defame FTR now. Calm
Well,
down,
why
Nicholas.
not? No, I'm kidding. Mostly. Mostly.
Mostly, not really.
Yeah. So then they go on to keep talking. They say the incident itself isn't the worst part. It's like a high school scrap. It really is. Seeing it 1,000 times in the Grand Hall.
Truly.
It's exactly like that. But anyway, roll the tape. And guess fucking what? Guess fucking what? It's the actual fucking footage. Oh my god, it's the actual fucking footage.
It was the actual
I
footage. It
literally
was the
I
actual
literally
footage.
screamed like in my own house. I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like,
Dude,
I kept waiting for it to be like altered or faked or something, for it to be like actors or whatever, and I was like, it's just not. They just said, fuck you, we
bro,
fired
I
you.
jumped.
That's amazing.
I jumped. I started jumping on my bed and pointing at the TV.
Go on monkey mode.
I was like, I was like, it's the footage. It's the footage. And my mother is trying to do laundry in like the next room. We have the door open, and she's like coming in, like asking me stuff about my laundry, and I'm like, Mom, please,
Not now.
not now. Not now. And it's like dead silence, right? Coming out of this TV. So she's just like, what?
Oh yeah, there was no sound. I forgot about that. It's literally just you're just sitting
There
there,
was no
just
sound.
staring at a black and gray screen, and it's just CM Punk losing his mind over a 25-year-old and then walking away to soon be fired afterwards. And it's in complete silence.
I loved it. This is better than any silent Tony Storm thing that I've seen in the past like 6 months. Okay, listen, this black and white
Play that shit at my funeral.
tape. It's crazy because you can see Punk come up to Perry. You can see him come up to Jack. Okay? And he's talking to him. And at first, Jack is fine. Okay? He's just having a conversation. He knows deep down in his soul, he knew that what he did was right, right? But then this guy just keeps fucking talking and he won't shut the fuck up. And you see him get more and more annoyed at whatever the fuck Punk is telling him. You know, you see him like mess with his hair a little bit and he leans to one side, like he starts
Like, you
getting
know how
he like sighs a
have you
little
ever
bit.
been that kid when it's
We
like
know.
your mother is talking to one of her friends at the store that you ran into, and she just keeps going, and
Yeah.
you're shifting around, you're doing anything to distract yourself because it's like she just keeps talking. That's exactly how Jack Perry felt in that moment. Is this guy
Yeah.
won't
And
stop
so
talking, and I got to do something because he just keeps
and
going.
and so you see this, right? And you see how annoyed Jack is getting, but he's maintaining composure. Like, even though he's annoyed, he's still maintaining composure. He has not done anything. His hands have not touched nobody. His hands go up. His hands go up, okay? And fucking Punk shoves his ass. Shoves him. Like, it was mean. It was mean. It was like a fucking get the fuck out of my face kind of mean. Okay? And he started it. And that's all I need to know. Because the first report that came out from Sean Ross Sapp, okay, that I feel it deep fucking down. That came straight from the horse's fucking goddamn mouth, okay? He said Jack started it. And that's not fucking true. You can see it in that
Yeah, I
fucking video,
genuinely never
okay?
fucking believe that.
Nobody nobody can ever tell me a goddamn thing ever again. Okay? And for the people out there who are like, "Oh, but Jack looks so annoyed, like he didn't want to
Yeah, why
listen."
would he? Why would
Uh,
he need to listen?
he's
He's a
25 years
grown-ass
old.
man.
He's 25 years old. That's a 20 that's a 20-year difference between these men. The 45-year-old man, you're telling me he gets upset and he gets heated over a 25-year-old not listening to him? I'm 28, okay? When a 19-year-old gives me fucking attitude, I don't go and fucking shove them. Okay? I don't go and shove them, okay? Because they won't listen to me. Okay? I just keep giving them shit. I will keep giving them shit. Or I tell them to shut the fuck up. Okay? But what I don't do is put my hands on an 18-year-old. Okay? I do not do that. Why would I do that? That's fucking stupid. I could get my ass fired. I'm not gonna do that.
He did get his ass fired.
And once again, we come back. Got his fucking ass fired. And guess what? Not only did he shove that motherfucker, he went into that fucking corner where I know
Oh,
Tony Khan
oh, oh,
was.
oh. I wanna
Tony Khan was
I
right
wanna say something. I
there.
wanna say something. I noticed
Go
I
ahead.
noticed watching the footage, the second that CM Punk turned his head and did a look around, he looked around the corner, like leaned his body back, looked around the corner, went back to talking to Jack. I'm like, he's gonna fucking lose it. He he's about he's about to swing. Like I know, because that's the look around where it's like, is anybody who could potentially get me in trouble watching me? I'm about to do some shit. So that's like that was the
And
second.
you know what that
That
means?
was the second I was like, okay, it's I always knew it, but it's like, yeah, he's definitely the aggressor in this situation. He's definitely the one escalating the situation.
Oh yeah. 1,000%. That's anybody around that can get me in trouble.
Yep, because I've done that.
And the funny part is, if he did look around, he knew Tony was right there, and he didn't give a fuck what Tony thought. He didn't give one fuck what Tony thought. And you know what? Honestly, that's the worst part. It's sad. It's fucking sad. The assault and not giving a fuck, like, is
He's very
crazy.
mentally gone at this point in time where he can't control his emotions. He lashes out entirely against people who, to him, are children. Um,
He is emotionally stunted,
he's emotionally
and he
explosive,
cannot handle it.
is what he is really. He has some very big feelings, you guys.
Yeah, he just can't control himself.
I want to, I want to say something so bad.
The, the thing, somebody on Twitter, a mutual of mine was like, notice how he did that to Jack Perry, but he ain't do shit to Adam Page.
Yeah, I mean, broken foot, Grail just got out of a match. This man is roughly 100 pounds or 120, 130 pounds heavier than you. Could very genuinely hurt you. Like, of course he chose the twink. Like, if Adam Page so chose, he could have broken CM Punk over his knee.
Yeah. That's why all he does is talk shit to Hangman.
Behind.
All he does is talk shit. He knows he can't. He knows he can't swing that
You
motherfucker.
really can't.
He knows he can't.
It'd be a lot funnier if he tried. That's a video I'd definitely watch.
But anyway. So now that we've seen the footage, um, I want to go back to what Nick said, and I want to say that this is actually perfect FTR continuity, and I love that he brought this up because apparently FTR can't do their own fucking continuity around here. They can't call back to anything. They can't do shit. They don't know how to tell a story. But Nicholas Jackson, brought back in this very important thing that we have forgotten about FTR, which is that when they first came to AEW, they came in as baby faces, right? Well, maybe not baby faces, but like tweeners, right? But they befriended Adam Page. So when you befriend Adam Page, automatically you kind of gain like a sense of like, oh, this must be a good guy. They're all right, you know. They're just Hangman's over there hanging out with the boys, you know. We forget as a society that FTR manipulated Hangman Page so that they could get at the tag titles. We forget this, okay? They manipulated Hangman, who was already, you know, at his worst, at the bottom of the barrel, in a hole, you know, that he could never ever dig himself out of. And they made it worse for him. And they used that to their advantage so that they could get at Hangman and Kenny's tag titles. Okay? They're the ones who made Hangman believe that it would be an easier play to go up against FTR than it would be to go up against the Bucks again, because they were preying on his self-esteem issues when it came to Matthew and Nicholas. Aren't they fucking
The answer
geniuses?
is yes. Yes, they are.
Absolute geniuses.
They're so intelligent. I love them so much. They're really, really good at this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, whether or not FTR decides to roll with this wonderful characterization that the Bucks have, you know, brought back into their lives, the world may never know
It sucks to suck. Choose better
because
friends.
FTR responds next.
Yeah. I don't have any sympathy for them because because after they actually show the footage, FTR come out to the ring and they do their own little promo, and it's just like they're just like, why are you showing this? It's been 8 months. Why are you why are you doing this?" And it just kind of reminds me of this really old like Chappelle's show skit, and it's like, why treat the customer this way? Why? 'Cause fuck them. That's why. Why treat FTR this way? 'Cause fuck them. That's why.
Yep. Fuck them.
Yeah. Their actual promo was not that good because they never really are. Um, but it was basically just them saying the only thing the Bucks care about, they used to care about the 3 letters of AEW, now they only care about the 3 letters of EVPs. Um, and it's just like a dynasty, we changed that, blah 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 blah. Fucking whatever.
Yeah. I really didn't pay attention to them at all. And it didn't seem like the crowd was as interested in FTR as they have been in the past, which is very sad because they should be hot right now, considering the fact that, you know, Matthew and Nicholas just made themselves look like pieces of shit,
I mean,
you
if you want
know?
to be hot again, have you considered
And
trying? Have you considered getting good?
that's the thing though, they don't try.
I wish Hunter would have returned your calls. Anyway, Brian video package. It's just him talking about the last year of his career and how he has to go out on a really high note. And then it goes into Renee speaking to Will Ospreay on the ramp I wasn't really listening. I'm gonna be honest, the footage had the Hangman effect on me, where it's like once Hangman has come out, I care about nothing else. And it was like once the video was shown, I cared about nothing else. So I was kind of checked out during this
Yep.
promo.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Same thing happened to me. Um, that tends to happen, yeah, whenever something big like that uh happens in the middle of the show. Um, that's why I think it's important to really like try to maintain the audience by having more than just one really big important thing happen on the show. You know, like all the other storylines need to get hot and soon because if not, people stop paying attention. That's not good.
No.
But by God, am I happy because Jack Perry is coming home soon. I'm so ready.
My son.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you actually want to recap the Will Ospreay um promo? I don't really care.
Um, so uh, a nice person on Twitter was like, recap without subtitles. And I was like, no, I'm
Can't
not
do
doing
it.
that. Uh, but, um, so something, Osprey started off the promo by saying that he wanted to respond to Brian, but he needed to respond to something else first. And this is where we get into the area of the show that I didn't particularly enjoy. But I do understand where they're coming from because the theme is petty. The theme is petty for the night. And um, we have to remember, as we said earlier in the show, that CM Punk and the rest of the Federation had some shit to say about AEW this week. So, um, apparently, Triple H said some crazy shit on, I think it was the pre-show of night one, and he was talking about how if you don't like the grind, or if you're afraid of the grind, then I don't want you in WWE. And he was talking about this because I guess somebody mentioned how something about free agents or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. I don't know how they got to this point. All I know is that these motherfuckers were doing this shit on purpose. Okay? They wanted to remind everybody that WWE is the place to be. Okay? And that if you don't want to be in WWE, fuck you, because we want hardworking people. That's the people that come to WWE. We want hard workers. Okay? And it's like,
Hard
okay.
workers to do nothing with.
I mean, half your motherfuckers spend time in catering anyway. What are you talking about? The grind. Okay? What are you
Grind
talking
could
about?
WWE possibly be?
Also, also, them motherfuckers are like, so you want people to work more for less?
Of course they do.
You did not give you did not give him the money he wanted. You did not give him the benefits necessary for him to want to work for your company. You did not give him an inkling or show him any sign that you actually gave a fuck about wanting to sign him or valuing him as a wrestler. If you don't show a worker how much you value them, why should they value you or your company? Fuck you. And if he gets to work less over here and he gets to travel from home every week instead of being forced to relocate to fucking bumfuck fucking Tampa Bay, Florida, okay? Like, fuck you. I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna be where I want to be. And I'll fly out to my work if I have to every week. My family lives in a different place. I'm not gonna force them away from their, relatives and their family and the place that they call home just because of a job. Especially if the job isn't going to pay me nearly as much and I'm going to have to work harder. Fuck that shit. Fuck you. No. No, he did the right thing. So anyway, Osprey pretty much said the same shit that I just said. Basically, he was like, first off, you don't know me, you don't know my life, you don't know what I've been through, you don't know my family. Okay? You have no idea what I fight for. Okay? And then what else does he say? And then he goes back to Danielson after, talking his shit, feeling himself. And he tries to hype up Brian because in the video package, it really felt like Excalibur was kind of burying Danielson a little bit in this. He was like he was like uh he's older, he's slower, all kinds of shit. And I'm like, bitch, you talking about Brian Danielson, you keep his goddamn name out your mouth with that bullshit. What are you talking about? I was getting angry on Brian's behalf. I was like, what the fuck you mean, Excalibur? The fuck? Anyway, so Will Ospreay makes it his decision to hype Danielson back up. And he said, healthier, younger, and better men have tried and failed. Kind of like a backhanded constructive criticism here. But he said, but you are Brian Danielson. And I cannot call myself the best wrestler until after I pin you. And that was basically the gist of the promo. So there you have it. That's what Will Ospreay said. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. The Willow angle was nice. That's the Willow angle from now on. That's what one of my friends said in the group chat. The the being like in front of the crowd. That's the Willow angle now. Um, but yeah, that's what we have going for Brian Danielson and Will Ospreay this week.
AD in them. So then we got a
Yep.
spooky bitch video regarding Willow and Julia. So Julia said, I peel back your mask and show you carry more than smiles and rainbows. You carry hurt, anger, and envy. I shall kill your spark, turn your smile into a frown, and make sure you never touch my crown. All right, bitch, go off.
Bars.
Okay, bitch, go off. Go
I
ahead.
appreciate I appreciate Julia for actually like feeling like she's the spookiest bitch in the spooky bitch faction because nobody's doing it like her. Malachi, he ain't got shit on her.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Julia.
Then we got the hook signal in the sky, and it was time for the six-man tag. Frankly, at this point, I was so checked out. I barely even watched this match. It contains Chris Jericho. I had just seen CM Punk get himself fired. I was a little out of it. So yeah, it was like, so I didn't really watch the match, but they lose, Hook and them, that is. So they lose. Jericho starts bitching about losing and how Hook didn't listen to him and things like that. Hook holds up Shibata's hand, and Jericho leaves the ring because Hook at least respects one old man, the one who deserves the respect, really.
Yeah. I'm not really certain how any of this happened and in what order, but
It
yeah,
happened.
that's
That's all
kind
we
of
need
what
to know.
happened.
So then we got a big Kazu match, big Kazuchika in the building. It's really just a squash match between someone who's local, but it was pretty good. That's because it was Okada, but it was pretty good. Like he comes
Hmm.
through, he just starts wailing on this kid, just beating the shit out of him. And then there were lots of good, like, close-ups and good Kazu faces that were made, which I really appreciated that they're continuing on with the bit of the Bucks being in the truck.
Yeah, and Kazu finding the hard
Yep.
cam.
He's
So important to me.
all over that hard cam.
He's all over
Yeah.
it.
So Kazuchika hits a really beautiful drop kick. Then he goes into the Rainmaker and he gets the win. And then he gets on the mic and he just goes, "Hey Pac, I accept your challenge. I will see you at Dynasty." And then Pac comes out. He's clapping, he's yelling, he's cursing. He's just mad as all shit. And then he goes storming down the ramp. Um, and then once he's about to climb into the ring, the Bucks come up behind him and just start wailing on him. And then they throw him in the ring. And then they beat him down some more. And then Kazuchika he holds him up. The Bucks just super kick him. And then FTR, they get their ugly fucking hands on the king, which makes me upset. And they beat down Kazu. And then Kazuchika goes and gets the fucking chair. He goes and gets the goddamn chair. And he just starts hitting these guys. And then we get super kicks on FTR into EVP triggers. And then Pac takes a chair right to the side of the head. And all of this happens within like a minute. Crazy ending.
It was not long at all.
Crazy ending. Yeah, and then we get a little Bang Bang Gang backstage promo. It's just kind of saying all they've done to like Darby and Sting and like the Acclaimed and them for the past couple months. And then Jay is like to the Guns. He tells them, "Go find somebody I can go beat up. Somebody I can go have a match with." And then they scurry off and they go do that.
So, Jay on
Jay on
Rampage?
Rampage. That's announced during
Nice.
like Mariah May's match. And then that immediately goes into the Tony Storm toasting celebration. So she's out there with Thunder and then Renee and Luther starts pouring champagne for all four of them really. No, it was all three. I don't think he drank any. And Tony gets her drink and she goes like she's about to speak into the mic, but then she just throws the drink in Thunder's face. And then she just takes one of the tea towels and starts rubbing it on her face to try and mess up her makeup and all that.
Paint.
Her
Her
face
face
paint.
paint.
She messes it all up. Diona Perazzo comes out of her tunnel, um, and she like chases Tony off, and then she tries to help up Rosa, but Rosa like bucks her off of her, and because she's like confused. She doesn't really know what just happened, and suddenly someone's touching her, so she just bucks Diona off of her, and Diona just goes, "You know what? Fuck you." And they tried to like they were
Stop.
so off with my stream and trying to bleep that out that you heard the fuck clearly, and then there was just a beat of silence afterwards.
That's hilarious.
It was so funny. I'm like, "Oh, you didn't catch it."
And then it just immediately goes into Mariah May versus Anna
Yeah.
Jay.
Like Mariah comes out of the tunnel and Tony is still there and she's still got her champagne. And so she asked Mariah, "Do you want some?" And Mariah's like, "I have a match." And so Tony just takes a sip. She takes a sip of the champagne and then she kisses Mariah really passionately on the cheek. And Mariah, it's kind of like, you know how like when Popeye gets spinach in him, he like perks up and he's like they just running around. That's what Mariah did, like a cartoon character. Like the kiss charged her up.
Yeah. He's
I
so
love
cute.
her. And then I really liked this. Excalibur just said, um, a champagne kiss and a caviar dream.
Look at him.
He's very good at his job.
Quotable. Yeah.
Yeah. So then in the actual match, we got a pretty good fucking chop fest. We got Mariah just chopping Anna out the fucking building. And then Lyric on Twitter, shout out, said that Mariah is wearing Tony Storm's Stardom gear. And that for Mina, no. Emmy said this, not Lyric. Mina Shirakawa, please come out, queen.
Yeah, I said that part. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, she's wearing Tony's Stardom gear. Then I want to see a Stardom girl come out here right now.
Precisely.
Right effing
Precisely.
now.
Exactly. Like, expeditiously. Get her out here.
That match was a
It's pretty
killer.
good.
I cannot believe how hard she was hurt, like hitting Anna. She was hitting her hard. It
Girl needs to learn.
was crazy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm happy with it though. It was nice. It's a very good match. For like a TV wrestling women's match that only lasts about 5 minutes, this shit was good.
Girls. And then, so Mariah takes the win. And then when she's celebrating, Anna comes up behind her and just puts her in the Queen Slayer. And she just puts her out. And then Mina Shirakawa just comes right the fuck out. She's barreling down the ramp. She comes through and she saves Mariah from Anna, just chases Anna off, beats the shit out of her and chases her off. And then somebody who works in the tech department had 2 glasses of champagne to hand to Mina. And so she hands them both to Mina, and then Mina gets on the ground and she's like cradling Mariah. Like it's like suggestive the way she's so close to her tit. And then she feeds her champagne,
Yes.
like gives her champagne to drink. And then
Yeah.
she like she very exaggeratedly goes. She turns her face away from like the camera and she's like addressing the whole arena. She mouths, or she says, I'm not quite sure which one it is. She just goes, I love you. And then she full on kisses Mariah.
Bro, when I tell you, I shrieked. The scream I scrumped. It hurt. It hurt my throat. How badly I shrieked when I saw that. I was ecstatic. I was insane. I was so happy.
I was like, I don't have the energy for all that. But I was like, the lesbians get to win. The lesbians truly win. And it was like, what I loved about it is that it wasn't like a shock thing. It was because of the storyline that they have is so lesbian coded. And it was like, it was genuine. It was
Yeah,
for real. And they gave them TV time and a
yeah,
close up. And
yeah.
it wasn't a joke.
Yes, it wasn't a joke. Dude, if Mina, because I didn't see this part that you mentioned about her mouthing "I love you." I didn't see that part. I missed that part completely. Like, it was so intentional. Like, she is legitimately looking at the crowd and going, "What you see here is what you see here. Don't think too hard on it. This is what's happening." Okay? The first thing that comes to your mind when you think about it, that's what's happening here right now. And that is
The
so
gays
good.
stay winning.
I'm we stay winning. As a bisexual, I
For
was
real.
doing great.
For real.
Good stuff here. Like because somebody posted a screenshot of the frame of Okada holding Pac. It was very coded. So it was like that and just back to back this too. It was like
Being
holy
fed.
crap.
Hell
Wrestling is for
yeah.
the queers.
Yeah. So then, right after that, we get a Mercedes Monet sit down with Alex Marvez. Her outfit is a total slay, per usual. It's really cute. It's pink. It's sooty, but you can
Mm-hmm.
tell it's a dress. It's so I love her. I love her wardrobe
Yeah.
so bad.
Where were they though? Because
It
that
did.
shit looked like a
It
funeral
kind of
home.
looked like maybe it was like Daly's place or something like that. Yeah,
Mm, yeah.
it looked very amphitheater. Yeah. No idea
Mm,
where they were at.
yeah.
But yeah. So they announced that Mercedes's debut match is going to be at Double or Nothing. Shout out to us who gets to see that for real. We get more EVP goofiness with
Whoop
the zoom ins
whoop.
on her face while she's talking. And then it's kind of like, to me, the way that they're building Julia versus Willow is that Willow is definitely going to win and she's going to face Mercedes. Um, it's kind of like all but being said, really. So
Mhm,
that's just kind of where I'm at with that. And then
mhm.
Mercedes, she talks about losing to Willow and breaking her ankle. And she's like, I hate to lose. And I'm like, yeah, so you are facing Willow at Double or Nothing. That is pretty much what's going to happen. And I'm very fucking excited.
Oh yeah.
So ready.
Ooh, I'm so ready. Whew. Ooh. Waiting on it.
Seriously.
Waiting on it.
And then after she finishes her piece talking, the lights go out and she is attacked by some unknown assailants who we don't know how many. We don't know any faces. All we know is the lights come back on and she's laying on the floor groaning. And Alex
Mhm.
Marvez, you can just hear him in the background just going like, we need help, things like that. Yeah. And then we
Yeah.
move right. Yeah.
This is good, but I feel like hold on. This is good, but I wish that they had done it like maybe a week or two ago. Like I don't know. The oh, what's going on in terms of like Mercedes' part in this? It feels like it's going a little slow. The Willow stuff is going across fine. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with her and Big Cope. Like like all of a sudden now we're veering. It might be because Mercedes can't wrestle yet that they're veering off to one side for Willow. That way she has
Yeah.
something to do in the
I think that's it.
meantime, you know? But yeah. Hopefully now we'll start to see a little bit more movement in both these areas. But I'm enjoying it. I'm very happy about how much time the women are getting. Because like if you notice that's like a big old women's block in the middle of the show, where it's just
Yeah.
all the women's stuff's going on, which I liked. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So then it turns out that we do actually get Joe versus Dustin. They just put it in the main event instead of the opener due to Swerve's attack. So Joe comes out in his entrance with Swerve's chain, which is hard. So hard. But Joe's kind of limping a little because, he
Oh
went through
yeah.
a few tables and he's still a little bit hurt and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as the match continues
Mm-hmm.
on, they're going pretty hard with this match. They're going pretty hard. But Dustin's had like a 3-week streak of going hard in his matches, so I didn't really expect anything different. And then he starts bleeding. Dustin starts bleeding like a lot, like a lot. Um, and it's just, yeah, they just
Yeah.
keep going hard. And it's just like eventually Dustin goes ahead and gets the title. Like he takes the title and he's like, I'm gonna use this on Joe. The ref talks him out of it. And then he goes and puts Joe in for the crossroads instead, and he hits it. Which honestly, pretty good looking crossroads. Pretty good looking crossroads. And then Joe tries to use a chair
Mm-hmm.
but he uses the title instead on Dustin, and he wins with 1, 2, 3. Oh,
He
chain.
tried
I
to
read
use a chain.
chair. Those look exactly the same.
I know, I know, I know. Yeah, it was interesting though. I like this idea that Joe became desperate somehow. From the beginning of the show to the end of the show, he has now become a desperate man. Desperate enough to cheat in this way. Like, and using the title. And I really like the little character beat of him pretty much absolutely not hesitating at all to use the title to win the match. Because now Swerve is the only person who's been in the title picture who has hesitated, who has not used it. Hangman used it. He used it twice. He did not hesitate. Swerve hesitated and Joe didn't. So he has now like become the person that, you know, he was not expected to become.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And it also just reinforces Joe as a bad motherfucker. You don't care. You don't give a shit. But
Yeah, Joe don't give half a fuck.
it's scary.
And then
Yeah.
so Joe is like he turns Dustin to the hard cam and he starts choking him out, right? And then so it's a close up. And so suddenly you
Mm-hmm.
just see Swerve's foot just kick Joe in the side of the head with the house call. You just like out of fucking nowhere, just foot to face
Yeah.
and then down into the mat.
Big RKO energy.
Yeah, big RKO energy. So then Swerve goes ahead. He gets his chain back and he swings. What?
It's a right hand. It's what I meant to
Oh,
say.
I'm like, what the
He
fuck are you
swings his right
talking
hand.
about? He swings his right hand with the chain and then he swings again. But Joe's like just terrified, just on the floor, like, please, like, don't hit me with that. It's a goddamn chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the locker room is out and it's just like holding everybody back from each other and things like that. The whole big just kerfuffle. And then Prince Nana goes and he gets the title and he hands it to Swerve and Joe's going insane on the ramp. And he's like, "Give me my title back. Give me my belt. That's mine." And then we go off
Yeah.
air with the image of Swerve holding the title and I got to tell you, it looks pretty good.
Oh my god. It looks so good in his hands. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's good shit. It looks good. It looks nice.
It sure does. It sure does.
Yeah. All right.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
It's gonna be good.
I hope I don't end up missing anything. Probably won't, but I hope I don't end up missing anything. I have something to do on Sunday.
Mm. Wait, how close is it?
Uh, next week.
11. We have 10
Yep.
days. Ah! Oh my gosh. 10 days.
It's almost time.
That's crazy. Almost time. So we kind of already went through all the stuff that people wanted us to talk about, and we have one more thing. Uh, Caitlin, uh, had something to ask about. She said, thoughts on Awfully Waffly's very scientific pie charts proving that everyone finds Hangman attractive. So let me explain to you since you haven't been on Twitter.
Mhm.
She basically asked straight men who they thought women found attractive. And they gave their answers. And then she asked women to say who they found attractive out of the male roster. And then she like put the pie charts next to each other, and Hangman is number one. So this much the boys know.
They're
The
learning.
boys know the girls love Hangman. Okay? Now, um immediately after Hangman on the what the men thought the women liked was Swerve, Takeshita, Eddie and Mox. Those were the next ones. And then there were like a few other ones. Orange Cassidy was on there, Jay White was on there, MJF, you know, those kinds of people. Wardlow was on there. He had a big chunk. He had a big chunk.
Good. Thank God.
Okay. In the men's. What the men thought.
All right. You had to just spoil my fun.
What the women thought. What the women thought,
Mhm.
okay? Hangman is obviously number
Yeah.
one. Except it changes now. Because he is followed by Kenny, Matt, and Nick.
Ah. Ah.
In that order. And then it's like Mox, Swerve, Takeshita, Chuck Taylor.
Yeah, yeah.
Chuck Taylor replaces Orange Cassidy in these like top spots here.
Yeah.
And there's no more Wardlow in that.
Men had it correct. Women, you are wrong. Listen to the men. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm playing with you.
But I just thought that was funny.
That is
It was
funny.
very interesting.
I like that. Can you send me that post? I'll watch. I'll look at it.
Yes, I will send you the post. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really it was very interesting. And then we had and then there was like uh what straight women uh find, like what straight women find attractive, which was not good. like the tiers were just not good. Jamie Hayter wasn't even on there. That's all I'm gonna say. Jamie Hayter wasn't on there.
Bro, so
And then you had the like what bisexual women, like what women bisexual women find attractive, and that was a better list. I was like, that makes more fucking sense. Jamie Hayter was on there.
good.
And Chris Stat was super high on there, obviously. It's like,
Obviously.
yes, this makes more sense. Sky Blue was still number one, and I was like, what?
No.
I'm sorry.
I like her and
She's
all,
too
but
much of a
no.
child for me. I mean, I say she's too much of a child, but she's like 2 years younger than me.
That
But
can be
she's,
enough.
eh. She still looks like a little teenager to me. I also look like a teenager in my head. Like, people think that I'm very young. So maybe that's the problem, but I just no. I don't find her nearly as appealing as certain other people. I can see it though. I see it obviously. Um, but yeah, very interesting little posts.
That is very funny.
People had fun on the people had fun on the internet. It was fun.
Mm.
Thank you, Sarah, for doing that. It was
Thank you,
great.
Sarah.
Yeah. Um, I think that's it. That's all we have to talk about today.
Yep. I think we managed to do it in 2 hours.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we did skip over most of the Dynamite from last week, but
Not important.
we got the important parts. That's all
Yeah.
that mattered.
We got the beats that matter.
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, we're almost there. Hangman, please.
Hangy, please.
I miss you. I miss you.
We'll get the cowboy back. We always get the cowboy back.
We always do. And we'll be getting Jack soon, eminently.
Jackery.
Yep. Anyway,
All right. I believe,
so I guess we will wrap this up.
yeah, I believe your turn for the outro. I think I did it last time.
Okay. So that's all we have for you today on your Emotional Support Wrestling podcast. You can find us on Twitter at ES Wrestling Pod. You can find us on Tumblr at Emotional Support Wrestling. You can find us on Blue Sky at ES Wrestling Pod. And please, for the love of God, if you have anything to say to it, holy shit, we have an email that we haven't read.
We do?
Did you see it?
No.
Yes! Yes! Hold on. Oh my god, how could I forget? She did send this to us. She spammed it on accident. It was a complete accident. Where is it?
Oh, I see.
Oh my god, I'll just read it from here. You see it? Do you want to read
Yep,
it?
I will read it. This is from Kate Fetback. We love you, Kate. We love you a lot.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's always interacting with us. I love her love her to death.
Mm-hmm. So she said, with Swerve now signing the world title contract in blood, do you think that he takes over Hangman's curse? Or do you think that Swerve's blood magic cancels out Hangman's blood magic? Also, thoughts on Trent walking out on Sue. Best wishes, Caitlin F.
Oh. Oh my god. So, what do we think? Well, we already kind of talked about it a little bit,
I
right?
think, yeah. I think it kind of creates a new type of blood magic. I think they start something new with this instead of it being either or.
Do you think it has something to do with the fact that they both said they're bonded to each other?
Yeah, actually. I think it has to do with because it's them both accepting that they're starting something new, which makes the something new more powerful. It's like a pact, really. It's like it's
Mhm.
you're doing this together. You're about to I don't exactly
Mhm.
know what they're going to create yet, but it's going to be gay and it's going to be great.
Also, I would like to point out again, Mr. Moxley, my beloved. Um, remember what he said before they created the BCC? Him and Brian. One of his promos that he cut on Brian before Revolution 2022, he said, "I don't stand side by side with nobody until I bleed with them first." And I think that's so important because it's true.
Mhm.
You know, I think that's an important aspect uh, of the violence tag team community is that you should bleed with your partner. You know, and who knows? Um, this could be a big issue for Hangman Page going forward if Kenny Omega returns and they decide to become a tag team again. I'm going to kill myself.
Can I be candid?
Because all I can think about it. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think Kenny is coming back.
No! Oh, that hurts my soul.
I really
Are
I
you for
don't.
real?
I don't think Kenny is coming back. He kind of
Don't say that to me.
it what I what I think about a lot is he said about him needing like the multiple surgeries and the days and days and days and days on end of the really painful rehab of trying to move his body again is and suffering so many setbacks doing such and it taking him so many months to get back to the ring. He said if I ever have to go through something like that again, I'm done. And it's not so much that he had to do the exact same thing, but it's the fact that listen, man, he's 40 years old and he's trying to essentially work around not a deteriorating, but a a new part of him that is now not working properly again. And he's gone through it with knees, with a shoulder, with a hernia, with a neck, with vertigo. I feel like this is the one thing where he's like, you know what? I can't get through this anymore. I can't push through any more things. This is the last thing that stops working before I'm done. And I think that he's done. I don't want that to be the case, but the number one thing that I want is for him to be healthy as much as humanly possible for him at this point. And I want him to stop pushing until he breaks. I think he's broken the last thing.
Wow, that's really sad.
And it felt like that since December.
Well, I hope it isn't the
Yeah.
case.
Apologies to end
I
that
hope he
off
gets to
like
come back.
that. Um, but I needed to say it at some point.
Oh yeah. No, I'm glad you said it. It seems like you've been holding this in for a while, so.
But Kate's email is not finished. She also wanted us to talk about our thoughts on Trent, also not only walking out on Orange and Chuck, but walking out on Sue. And I think it's kind of a perfect move to do for like a meaningful heel turn. Like your mom who literally drove you to your matches and like hit your opponent for you and supported you through like literally everything that you've done so far, so much so that you bring her with you to your job, turning your back on her, perfect.
I wonder if it wasn't so much turning his back on her as it was so much I gotta get out of here.
Possibly.
Because I think I th- I think he does I think he did feel some sort of shame when he did it.
Yeah.
I think I think Trent's smart enough to know that all the frustration that built up inside him for the past 2 years, like clearly it's not like I'm sure he knows in some way shape or form that whatever he's feeling towards Orange isn't necessarily Orange's fault. Like it's not whatever Orange is doing to hurt him, it's not intentional. I think he knows that. As I don't think anybody's ever really seen Orange to be like a bad person, you know? But um so I don't think he was turning his back on his mother. I think I think it was just a moment where it was like, okay, I've done what I have to do, what I felt like I needed to do, and I need to walk away from this immediately. I don't think it was him walking away from his mother. It was definitely him walking away from his friends to cool off, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We get to have Orange talk, supposedly he's going to talk about it, I guess, on Rampage, so I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of stories that I need to see,
This is what I like to see.
especially because we have so many people out right now and I need things to keep me alive.
Real.
And this stuff is heartbreaking,
It's the good shit.
which means I will keep watching
Oh
it.
yeah.
All right, so I already went through the whole spiel for the end, so thank you for tuning in and listening to us. We will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.